Okay.
you're going to start showing the first stage signs of scurvy. The first stage of scurvy is like just fatigue and some muscle aches. Like you're really tired. And this was a big problem, as you can imagine, because we're going to talk a lot about ships and sailors, and those are the people who, we associate with scurvy. If they were just exhausted and couldn't do their work on the ship. Mm-hmm. The second stage progresses to the classic, you've probably heard of bleeding gums.
Right.
So your gums start to bleed. You start to get some joint pains. You may start to lose some teeth. Then we progress to the third stage, which is much worse. The pain, the joint pain and the muscle pain and everything becomes much, much worse. Your gums, instead of just bleeding, they bleed a lot more, but they also start to like putrefy and rot. Because there's a lot of talk when you read about like historical descriptions of scurvy about people's breath. Their breath is just like death because their gums are rotting. Mm-hmm. You can start to get hemorrhages all over your skin. You can start to get ulcers all over your skin. And gangrene, and things start kind of dying and breaking down. And then in the final stage of scurvy, you start to get fevers, probably because you're getting extra, you're getting infections and stuff too. You get necrosis, so, death of different tissue areas. You get hemorrhaging, and the hemorrhaging can finally occur in like your heart or your brain somewhere really important, and then unfortunately you can die. So that's kind of what happens with scurvy. Mm-hmm. So if you can imagine this happening to a lot of people at once, this was probably pretty terrifying.
Right. On a ship especially, because you're roughly on the same time, I mean, presumably, since last vitamin C. So I bet you would see people kind of get it in waves.
Exactly. And you had no idea how people were getting it or how to stop it. Mm-hmm. The reason that it's kind of funny, because if you look back as to like why, when you start to see descriptions of scurvy when it happened, you could theorize that initially humans lived where stuff grew all year long. We lived in like warmer areas. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, if we lived cold places before we knew how to grow things, then we'd die when it was really cold. Right. So as we start to see farming and like agrarian societies, and humans start like migrating to more temperate regions, and we start depending more on grain and things like that, we start to see vitamin deficiencies like scurvy. Because then we're not naturally around all the vitamins we need necessarily.
That makes sense.
You can't get citrus fruit all year long. The Egyptians spoke of something that sounded like scurvy in the Ebers Papyrus. They actually advised, and they described something with bleeding and hemorrhaging and all this stuff, and then they said, you should probably eat some onions for it.
I haven't seen onions.
Yes, there is.
Nailed it. What's up, old timey
I know, it was pretty good.
Got it in one.
I don't know how, probably just through process of elimination, like try different things. Onions seem to work. Or just like onions are good on